Hey, Corey. Hi there, Corey. I can see you now.
I can see you, but I cannot hear you.
Got it. Okay. Hmm.
Oh, you can. Okay. Okay. I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you now.
I love it. I do have a hard stop at 3:30, so
Okay.
let's jump into it.
Let's roll. Okay. Hello, guys. So what we have here, we're interviewing Hayden Cashion, which is a big TikTok star in the ad space. And Hayden is actually really good at putting together overall advertising strategies for companies. He knows a lot about ads and the technicals as well, but his specialty, as per his own words, and from what I've seen also watching his content, is that he's good at coming up with the overall strategy for the company, and ultimately looking at whether ads should be used, what ads should be used, what platforms should be used, and then how you should actually be going about doing the advertising overall. Because as per also what his own words, a lot of people don't think about the overarching business strategy as it ties into ads, and as a result of that, they're not really successful. And wanted to have an interview here today where basically I'm going to just ask Hayden for random businesses that he does not know of yet, what he would actually do with the ads, how he would do it, and whether he would actually do ads at all for this type of company or just even another marketing strategy. So you guys can get an idea of whether or not you would actually, use strategies for your own, and then, take away information that you can use for your own campaign. So with that said, Hayden, are you ready to get started?
Yes, Corey. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So Hayden, first of all, I'm going to start out with a couple boring ones. I want to see how you do with that.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So first of all, for a mortgage broker, somebody who's needs to sell mortgages, what would you do for something like that that's so boring and so saturated?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually have a really good concept that I like to use with realtors and mortgage brokers. I call it love and proof. And let me break it down for you. So in the mortgage space, you can't constantly say, we get you the best rates, because sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's not like a business where you can just have a claim like 100% always the lowest price, right? Or highest quality, right? So for a mortgage broker, you have to do what I call as the proof side. So you have to show happy clients and happy results. You have to show proof that you're good at what you do. So that could be, you taking a photo with a client and saying like a caption about what happened. You talking about a client testimonial. Obviously, with a realtor, you can show homes actually sold. With a mortgage broker, it may be different, but you want to show the proof. Okay, what that's going to do is help show that you're a 10 out of 10 mortgage broker, but there's going to be other 10 out of 10 mortgage brokers as well. So how do you separate yourself from the other 10 out of 10 mortgage brokers once you've done the proof side? Is the love side. This is the emotional connection that you have with your audience. So this could be telling stories about the why behind helping your clients. This could also be talking about your community involvement or different things that you care about in the local community. This could be sharing your family, things that you're doing with your children, things that you're doing with your spouse. This could be sharing other interests that you have. If you love NFL football and have a specific team, every single Sunday doing a really fun post about your traditions around NFL Sunday. So once you have the proof side mapped, you also have to tie in the love side that helps you stand out from the other 10 out of 10 mortgage brokers. That's how I would think about a mortgage broker brand.
Great. Yeah, I agree with that. And anymore, people are trying to avoid having to be active on social media to run their businesses and being good at even making like video content and all that. And for me, the businesses that are going to succeed over the next 10 years are going to have to learn that stuff. And, people just want to run an ad. Ultimately, your best is to lead with that, exactly like what you're saying, and then advertise to the people that already know who you are. Because if you're just going to advertise to cold audiences, it's going to be tough. Not to say it can't be done, but frankly, literally, if the easier road long-term is just becoming a brand of your own, and then you can advertise off the back of that on the back end versus just trying to go out with ads, have no brand. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's a great point. We didn't even touch on the ad side of it. So that would be organically. And then, yeah, you're right. One thing I like to remind a lot of people is that if you run ads retargeting people that have engaged with you, those ads can do the heavy selling, swipe up and fill out this form to get your mortgage approval or whatever. And a lot of the time that takes the pressure off having to sell organically. So you can just show happy clients. You can show your interests in family and hobbies and community. And you don't have to worry about, and by the way, message me to get your mortgage. Like, the ads will come in later and do that heavy lifting for you. It's a good point.
Yep. Okay. Hayden, how about a IT services firm, another saturated market? I mean, something also that people typically don't need until they need it, and then they need it right away. What would you do for something like that that's working with businesses, not necessarily consumers itself?
Yeah, so we would need to drill a little bit deeper. I know we don't have a lot of time, but my first question would be, what is the thing that makes your IT service special? What is the value proposition that helps you stand out from the competitors? And that one thing or multitude of things would be the direction that we lean on from a marketing standpoint. And then in terms of trying to target people from a B2B standpoint, as you know, but the audience may not know, the best platform for that is LinkedIn. Simply because LinkedIn has the most accurate occupational data, people's companies, people's job titles, and job history. So you're able to target the decision maker that you want to reach. But a lot of the times I even encourage our clients to target the people underneath that decision maker, and with the call to action of the content to forward this to the decision maker. Because a lot of the times if content comes from internally up, they're more likely to listen than if it just pops up in their feed.
Yeah, that's something I've never actually did myself. And I guess it's because I haven't necessarily believed in it, but I also haven't tried it. And I know Gary Vee also mentions that particular strategy a lot, where, you target everybody in the company and then everybody starts talking about it. And then that's how you get through, which makes sense because especially I should say, or even exclusively targeting bigger companies, you're not going to get a hold of the CEO. He's too busy. You're going to get through to by getting through to the employees. And then they're the one that has the pull with the CEO or whatever. So depends on, how big the company is. And if you've got a bigger company, I would say definitely that's the strategy if you have to get through to them. But that sounds good. Okay. How about I had an idea. We're going to get into like software here. I had an idea recently that I didn't really know if anybody's doing it, but nowadays it's better to have a website set up instead of just having your standard contact form. You would have a multi-step contact form on your website that would interview your potential customer or client that wants to contact you, and then through a series of questions, it would output different variables, such as it would let you have the Calendly link to book a meeting, or if it wasn't somebody that was good, it could have something that says, here's my competitor, or, you book a paid call because you want to evaluate whether this person has actual budget or not, and then just have different outcomes. And it cuts out the whole back and forth having to deal with the person, because ultimately what you really want is just to get an appointment set with an individual prospect. Yep. And why do that back and forth through email and through the initial frontline salesperson when it could all just be automated onto your website? And as a result of this, you would get a lot more total appointment set, because it would right away do it. Whereas contact rates on contact forms that you get notoriously are under 50% if you don't respond within like 15 minutes. So anyway, it's something that I see businesses are going to be going to anyway. If you had to market a plugin like this for WordPress or for websites that can implement it, what would be a way to market something like that, given that it's such a novel new idea, and marketing novel new ideas is always hard? What do you think you would do in that situation to market something like that?
Yeah, like the truth is there's a lot of different ways you go about it and be creative about it. But my initial thought is what I like to say is dollarize the solution. So you're selling this to businesses or individuals looking to make money somehow. And so I would dollarize what the outcome is. And so I would come up with a bunch of different creative stories that showcase how much money you're going to make by using this tool, and then justifying whatever the cost is of the tool. Like, I don't know if you were thinking of something high ticket or something that's just like $49 a month. But if you can just show dollarized case studies of like, this company used it or they weren't using it, and this is what was happening. And as soon as they used it, they were closing an extra 10, 20K because they weren't wasting time over here. They're focusing on the best opportunities. That's always my favorite way to go about it, if it's possible, is to dollarize.
Yeah. It's always tough to, like in the marketing space, to get case studies, because nobody wants to reveal the results, because that takes away the competitive nature of like the edge that they're getting from it. In that case though, guys, I've said in the past that you'd be better off offering your services for free for a while, assuming you could do it, and get those case studies, because anything in like the B2B space, that's really going to be more than anything what is going to sell it, because everybody just wants to know, does it work, and does it work for a business like mine specifically?
Yeah.
Because they think their business is different, and they just want to see an actual case study. So I agree with that 100%, even if it means, doing work for free for a while. And then, at that point in time, you just package up those case studies, and that's your ad, so to say. Everybody wants to know how to make more money. They're just skeptical as to whether they can do it or not. And that's so when you're trying to sell to a business owner and you're and trying to make or save them money, really they just want to see evidence of that, because there's so many scams out there. Everybody says they can do it. What are you actually doing to prove that you can do it?
Yeah.
And then so you can either provide all these performance guarantees, or you could actually just show it with the actual companies that are doing it. And that's obviously better in the long run for you, because you don't have to make any crazy promises or guarantees. You just have to reference the companies that are doing it. They are contactable, presumably. And because you've made a deal with the customers up front that you do deal with, hey, we'll do the work. We'll get you the result, as long as we can fully publish anything about this, and you can be contacted later about the results. And then you would have an active plan that would work.
100%. And even like a solution like this, which is SaaS product, you could just offer the free trial as well. And it seems like it's quite sticky, right? Because the free trial, you'd have to build it out. And so really after that full build out, are you going to cancel it after 30 days I'm imagining it'd be a low ticket product, probably not. And so you put that together where it feels low risk. Yeah, I think this is a slam dunk, because I think intuitively as well, a product like this makes sense to the consumer, right? You can really play on the pain of like, are you sick of talking to unqualified people? What if your unqualified people could actually make you dollars, because potentially you could just throw them into a downsell that is automated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can come up with all these directions that explaining them quite simply makes sense. When you hear it, you're like, oh, that does make sense. And so once again, talking in dollars, I think that's a mistake a lot of marketers make, is they don't talk to business people about money. They talk almost like the step before money. They're like, we'll solve your pain. But then they forget to mention in solving that pain generates income a lot of times.
Yeah, you got to really spell it out for people. You can't assume that they're going to make the assumption on their own. I mean, ideally, that would be the best. I mean, if they could come up with, if they think it's their idea, they're going to believe in that idea more. But for something that's a new novel thing, it's tough to do that. You kind of really do have to spell it out for them.
Yeah.
Which brings me into my next point, which was, again, marketing anything new is difficult. One of the companies that I'm an investor in is a company that sells a package delivery box. And so essentially, nowadays people are getting a lot of stuff delivered to their house, and you have to be home to get a delivery ultimately. And so you have to sign for it, or, it's an expensive thing sitting on your porch. You don't want it sitting out there all day, depending on what kind of neighborhood you live in or whatever. And so that we have these mailboxes that essentially allow you to put the package in the mailbox. It's got a keypad code on there. And what you do is you essentially put the keypad code on the address line of the product or of your order when you put it in there. It's similar to how gate codes work. When you get a delivery with a gate, you have to have the gate code. Well, you just put the package delivery box's code on the second address line. The mailman already knows how to use that. They just put the package in there. It's a locked container, has a door. You open it up, you put it in there, It locks, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can get a package anytime. You don't have to be home ever, and you can leave it there for a week if you wanted to. And it's big enough you can have multiple packages and so forth. And there's some different, ones where some that goes at the end of the driveway. There's some that is built into the side of the house, ultimately. But again, it's a product that people really haven't come around to using yet. I mean, when people see it on their neighbors on their property, they see it and they're like, yeah, I need that. But when you're trying to go to the public with the product, I mean, we've had it featured on Fox News and some other places, but people see it and they're kind of resistant to the whole idea, because the product, I mean, to be fair, isn't cheap. It's like a couple $1,000s for this product, but it's a super high quality product that's going to last 30 years. It's not going to rust. It's not going to look like crap on the side of your house. And we're selling a decent amount of them, but it's still not, it's so difficult to get it into the mainstream as to people thinking that why they need this. It's similar to how, like, of iPhone, when it came out, people were like, oh, wow, that's too expensive. I can't buy that. But now people just think of it's normal to spend $1,000 on a phone. And that's how I feel about this concept. I mean, people spend a couple $1,000s on a damn microwave. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, it's all relative. So the biggest battle is changing the kind of the mindset of the consumer, in my opinion. Anyway, that's the background behind the product. What do you think you would do to get that product out there in terms of advertising? Or it doesn't necessarily have to be advertising, but what would really move the needle, outside of the standard, hey, when somebody's looking for a package mailbox on Google, making sure you show up there and potentially having like celebrities mention it, which would be one route. What do you think?
Yeah, a couple thoughts. I always think too, like, I'm trying to give different thoughts as well to make this podcast interesting. Something that I always think about too is, how do you activate your current customer base, right? So every single person that has purchased this, they have it sitting on their porch, right? It's on their porch, correct?
There's a couple models. One is going to be built into the side of the house, and then the other ones are going to be like in the yard.
Got it. So let's say every time you purchase the product, you have the opportunity to join the UGC affiliate network, right? And basically, once a month, you have the opportunity to submit a UGC video that features the product. And if the brand accepts it, which gives them usage rights on their page and for a year in ads or something, you get paid $10. So you can make $10 a month by just making a video, but the brand has to accept it. You upload it into their portal and they have to accept it. So then you have to put some effort into it, or else you're just not going to get accepted. So it's a waste of time. That to me is such an easy way to activate the people who already know about it, who already love it, and get tons of content every single month and only pay for it if you like it. That would be a clever way that I would go about it. And then utilizing all these thousands of videos that you're getting to find what actually resonates.
Yeah, there's third-party services out there, platforms that allow you to get UGC content and from dozens of people. And there's something to be said about having dozens of people using the product. People start seeing this, they're going to think everybody's using this product. And
Keeping
then
up with the Joneses, right?
That's how big brands are really created. It's not through traditional advertising. It's getting, before there was influencer marketing, there was, like I just saw a case study on Grey Goose. What did they do when they started? They actually paid high-end clubs to have the product in there. And, they also had, some celebrities and stuff like that, using the product, but it was just there at the high-end venues. So you went there, and because you saw it at all the high-end venues, you assumed it was a high-end vodka, even though the vodka didn't cost any more than the vodka that was a third of the price, but it had a fancy bottle, of course. And, it was in the high-end venue. So you just assumed it was high-end because that's where it was.
Yep.
So you got to think about, where to have your product show up, to have people assume certain things about your product in order to, get behind the product itself. And the UGC content, that's really an easy way to do it. And not just for this, but for a lot of stuff. And you're right, for like $10, you can get a UGC video anymore from, micro creators or whatever. I know it's more than that for obviously bigger creators, but yeah, that's something that's underutilized for sure.
Yeah. And I also think too, like outside of marketing, a clever way to go about it too would be talking to home builders and seeing about having it like come with the home. That could be a higher leverage opportunity as well. But yeah, outside of that, I think it really just becomes the FOMO. Once you got to create that perception of like your neighbor has it and you don't, and you're falling behind. And I think the UGC videos is a great way to just do it quickly at scale if you already have customers. And then creating some other incentive package where like they post it on their story or something. Because I think it has to be like, in my opinion, if a new restaurant pops up in your city and you see one of your friends go to it, you're like, fine. But if over the next 3 weeks, you literally see 20 different friends post a story at that restaurant, you now have to go. And so it's that concept of like, people have to see it multiple times from multiple people that they trust. And obviously UGC in ads is like lower impact because it may not be people that they know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you also have those people posting it on their story, it'll start to be one of those things where like every year it doubles, right? You have like 1% of the market, then 2, then 4, then 8, then 16, and it just goes exponential.
I agree. You want to start with your customers. If you can get them to do it, great. And then if you can get other creators to share organically, that's the second best. And then of course, ads is the last resort. And ideally you do all of it and you do as much as if you can of the first. So, But that's brilliant. I appreciate you going over everything with us here today, Hayden. Where can we find you at?
So you can find me Hayden Cashion on TikTok or Hayden.Cashion on Instagram, or Cashion Marketing if you're looking for paid ad services. But I know Corey does a phenomenal job at that as well.
Well, hey, yeah, I mean, but we're both effective. So
that's right.
Anyway, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up with that, guys. I know you had a hard stop, so we'll wrap up the interview with that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Corey. It was a blast.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.